But as you can see, 2v2, I'm playing Egypt. My ally is SwedishLandsknekt, he's in command of Rome, and our opponents are Pontus and Carthage. You can catch this army here. I've got 2 Ptolemaic cav, 1 citizen cav, 4 Rhodian slingers, I believe it was, 8 units of Egyptian pikemen with 1 to 2 upgrades, a Galatian royal guard, and 4 Galatian swordsmen. The Pontic player, 4 Pontic royal cav, 5 eastern slingers, 1 eastern spearman, and I believe it was 7 hoplites. Not sure what the other guys had there. I'll pause it to scan their army. And this battle was pretty quick on my side, so I don't know how much I'll be able to give Swede's fight. So I suspect he should upload this if he wants to catch more of his fight, because I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get of it. I'll try though. So I'm going to pause. Let's have a look at Swede's army, seeing as we just saw my army. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 auxiliary Syrian archers, a very good archer unit. However, if you're going to do skirmishing, I recommend Balearic slingers with using Rome, or just slingers in general, because they just have a lot more ammunition and armor piercing. So, I mean, but archers are great still. They're quite good with when you put heavy shot on. They're still very effective, but the ammunition thing's the issue. But they are very good because they kill quite a bit quicker because they've got a higher damage rate, I think. Then he's got, let's see, up front he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 units of standard legionnaires. Then he's got 2 Principes in a first cohort in the bag. It's quite cool. I don't see Principes use that often. Then he's got 2 gladiator, a gladiator and a gladiator spearman, a valete there, probably to deal with elephants that Carthage might have. Then he's got 2 Socio extraordinary, and then 2 legionary cav. Legionary cav's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. And of course it's got a legatus, and it's a warrior general, interestingly. I think he accidentally did that. Of course we saw my army with its 5 Galatian swordsmen, 1 Galatian royal guard, 2 Ptolemaic cav, 1 citizen cav, 4 Rhodian slingers, and the 8 Egyptian pikemen. And we'll look at the Carthaginian army. I see some sacred bands. I see, let's see, 4 late Libyan hoplites, 3 mercenary Balearic slingers, 2 Libyan peltasts, 2 mercenary Iberian swordsmen, 1 mercenary Numidian cav, or African warrior elephant for his general, a Libyan hoplite, and 1 more mercenary Iberian cav, and then I think there's 3 noble cavalry. So he's gone probably more for his cavalry wing and his skirmishing, because his infantry's, they've got a good late Libyan hoplites have a really good bonus versus large units like cav and elephants, but they're not very good in melee, and their attack is very low, and their morale is pretty low as well, so I wouldn't expect too much. The Sacred Band, it's a cool unit, but I really don't think it's worth it, because I mean it's got some great stats there, but it's expensive and it doesn't do that great a job, not in my opinion anyway. And of course the Pontic player had those 5 Eastern slingers, and there was 7 hoplites and 4 Ptolemaic cav, not Ptolemaic, I mean Pontic royal cav. So we get pretty offensive here in this fight. We go on the aggressive. So I'm going to sort of shift this way, but as you can see, if I hold down space, you can see my actual movement orders there. So I haven't moved my cav yet. I'm going to move here to the left. Try and support Swedes if necessary. Just gauge what my opponent's battle plan is. Basically, you can probably tell by my build, the idea is to use these pikes as a front, or to at least occupy him while I use my swords to do the damage. And I've got some pretty strong cavalry to do it, and if I have to I can hurl a pike or a sword in to just make that fight go on longer. My opponent directly opposite me, he's clearly gone with a stalling tactic in his centre with his infantry, and a very hard-hitting position on the flank there, but they won't be easy against Egypt. Egypt's a very good faction. The only weakness I've found in Egypt is that if you don't use Ptolemaic cav, you don't really have great cavalry. And because Ptolemaic cav are quite expensive, that can be a bit tricky. But Egypt's really diverse. Great swords, great, good selection of pikes, great missiles. It's good everywhere really. It's got elephants, it's got chariots, it's got the works. So I bring my cav out this way, and I'll begin skirmishing in a minute. Now I should be get a reasonable bonus here in this desert, being Egyptians. As you can see, our opponents are probably trying to sort of... The difference here is our opponents have got this gap kind of up the centre there, so if necessary we could try going around that. Now, when does this actually begin? I'm sure I move up here in a minute. going to speed it up. Yeah, I see the Pontic player come forward, so I was trying to keep it as close to Swedes as possible to work with him as much as possible. Interestingly enough, my Rhodian slingers, even though they've got range, they keep coming forward really far for some reason. I don't know why, and they kind of got clustered. I didn't want that. Now, I'm using concentration fire. I have one less slinger, but you'll see just how effective Rhodian slingers really are. So let's get some nice close-ups here. Some sling fire going in. I like to bring you guys the close-up. As you can see, this, I'm using concentration fire, and this unit's just getting shredded. Like, look at that, just straight away the first one routes. Now, I charge this unit of, what are they? They're Pontic Royal Cav with my Citizen Cav, so my Citizen Cav will get wasted, but I get the much better charge here. I do get trampled down, and I'm going to charge these Pontic Royal Cav there, and I should get a similar effect over this. Watch that one. Just smashing in, so I get the much better charge there. So I got the more important charge there. He got a good charge against my Citizen Cav, but he tries to retreat and go after these guys, so I'm going to try and chase after him because I don't want to get overwhelmed by superior Cav there. The slinger fight's going pretty well. Let's have a look over here. So we see a bit of a Cav charge here. The Noble Cav didn't get their trample down, but they're still better Cav and they're shock Cav, and they have a bonus versus other Cav. Although our Stocky Eye Extraordinary fighting them actually, so that should be pretty even. And he brings in his Legionary Cav here. He needs to be careful of these elephants out on his flank. He's trying to chase these guys, Numidian Cav, off. I'm still skirmishing away, sending some infantry to the flank there to try and help with that fight if necessary. Now he's got that extra slingers unit, so he's doing quite well with them. But as you can see, he's lost basically 3 slings. I think he had quite a bit. And if my guys had not come up to range like that, it wouldn't have been quite as bad there. So I decided to shift my lines a bit here. Swedes has got into this infantry fight, but these elephants are now in here, giving him a bit of trouble. So he'll be in danger. So he needs to get these peltists over. He sends his gladiators in. Gladiators, and he's going to activate frenzy. That's going to be badass. And they should have a bonus versus large, I suspect. And there's my sound jumping out again. I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing that. I mean, I know my sound card can handle it. So my opponent decides to disengage here. I activate my general's defense thing here just to give him a bit of a bonus. I want to try and get these Cav, because if I get these Cav, I can do a lot of, I can effectively put an end to his power, because his hoplites will not stand up to my infantry. And he's got more clustered here, and because I have the superior slingers, I'm winning this one. As you can see, both these Balearics, 109 and about 82 there. This Carthaginian Cav is superior to the Roman Cav and has won the fight, essentially. Here he sends a first cohort, but he's... advice here, you should never do what Swedes did here. You must brace if you're going to get charged by anything. Don't charge it, because you, look at that, he lost like 40 something men, and he gets into the flank of Swedes here. If you're standing still, your Legionnaires have a chance to brace themselves, and they don't take the same kind of damage as they would if they rush them. If they rush, they're not braced, they take more damage. Now these Roman Legionnaires will put pay to these units over here. So on this flank, I have more or less sort of got a surround going on these Pontic Royal Cav here. So I'm trying to push here. As you can see, I'm forming up my infantry like that, my swords like that, and I'm going to put my guys like that and try and crunch him in there. Now he does get my general here though, which is really bad. I'm going to hurl these infantry in to help this fight. I'm going to try and keep his cavalry away. I've still got missile units, and I've still got my Galatian Royal Guard. My opponent decides to go with kiting though, because he knows he has to win in a cavalry fight. But I get one of my pikes into the fight here as well, so that's really going to help. He's got his spears into this fight as well though. But I'm essentially trying to just stop him from being able to use his wing, because he's put all his strength into that cavalry. If he can't use his cavalry, his hoplites, well, they'll last a while, they'll certainly lose to me. Over here, Swedes does a nice job. He's run this unit to mock, which is alright, but I recommend just using your standard like javelins and stuff on them, because it kills them very quickly. And running a mock's not a guarantee that they won't still run a mock amongst your own men, so I do recommend that you probably best to use javelins, but depending on the situation, if you can run them a mock amongst their own men, that can be very handy. As you can see, Roman Legionnaires' might comes in handy again, and Swedes does a very nice job. He did have a Libyan infantry, which I appeared not to notice. And what's going on here? As you can see, some pretty nice stuff. Awesome uploads. Got, close-ups there. So as you can see on this flank, I'm still pushing, my opponent's still kiting, but he loses his cav here under my slings fire. As you can see, they're clocking up the kills. I'm just trying to keep organised here, and keep trying to follow him. And I believe that was my Steam, someone must be messaging me. I'll catch them in a minute. So Swedes is fighting all these Legionnaires. They did very well actually, and whoa, elephant, and fought very hard in this fight at all. But this fight kind of degenerated into a lot of little 1v, like little singular fights, little breakaway. It didn't keep cohesion, whereas over here mine did with my opponent. My guys were in a bit of a funny formation as I was trying to move them here. Now there might be a slight amount of corruption in this replay, I don't remember for certain. Sometimes when I get patches coming in it does that. Here I decided to go after his slings, they're hoplites actually. So I thought there was some slings around the area. But I know he's got one that regrouped. So this Galatian swordsman is probably going to lose because it's fighting a whole lot of units on itself, but I'll support it in a minute and it'll quickly be okay. You just see my pikes coming in from behind there. The annoying camera thing. There we go, it's alright. As you can see, he gets himself into a fight he doesn't want to be in, frontally on my pikes, so eventually he kind of over-kited, where sometimes you kite so much that you essentially put yourself in a position where it becomes too hard to manage the kiting. So, as you can see, my legions will quickly, or my swordsmen and my pikes will quickly destroy, and here's a camera and anvil strike from my Ptolemaic cav into the flank. Over here, now this unit has been in the fight for a while, so I didn't support it very quickly. His general regrouped, however I spotted this, so I'm going to use two of my Galatian swordsmen and my slingers to try and deal with that. This fight over here, I'd say the elephant might have been able to start turning this, because these legionnaires are starting to lose, and probably these Libyan peltas as well, because they're a really lethal unit. So, very close one between Swedes and his opponent there. But as you see, these hoplites, while they're a great defensive unit, they do quite well. What every feudal's given me, some sort of shameful display about my country. So here you can see I've got my pikes here on the side, trying to punch through there. Now look at that flurry of pikes there. But as you can see, I'm outflanking him here now. I've got my swordsman going in. And here I'm able to brace myself. This is what Swedes should have done, stand still and braced. And as you can see, my guys don't take huge casualties, they only take 19 men losses there instead of losing the whole lot. Now my slings will get a bunch of flanking shots. Now my men initially chase them, but I'm going to stop and let them regroup, and if they brace, I believe I might even put him into shield wall there, so if he tries it again, he's fighting a shield wall, and as he's getting slinged to death in his flank. I've got out flanking here on my opponent, and he's getting squished in there. And my Galatian Royal Guard's coming on the flank there. There's some nice close-ups. A bunch of peeler. And he's sandwiched there. So hoplites, best to use in a cav fight or as a stalling force, not as a main infantry force. My opponent, I think, was attempting to do that, but essentially what happened was I destroyed his destructive cavalry wing and he was not able to do it. As you can see, I've actually still got tons of my infantry left, so once I destroyed that cavalry wing, he really had no means in his missiles, he really had no means to fight me. So as you can see, he's just stuck on this enormous wall of Egyptian pikemen. Now Egyptian pikemen are pretty bad pikes, but they can still do quite a bit of damage if you can get people to take them from the front. As you can see, those final units rout there, and I believe I popped, did I pop? No, I didn't actually. And as you can see, the rest of these hoplites rout. So it's some pretty easy infantry, but some pretty tough cav there to fight. And I do believe these remaining Carthaginian units do rout in a moment, just because, as you can see, I still have a ton of infantry left. So they actually worked out really well for me this time. Essentially, it went exactly the way I wanted. My pikes taking that fight from the front, and then his infantry just having no choice but to go into them because I had slinger supremacy. So what you want to do is try and get slinger supremacy, and it'll force units to run, kind of force them into your pikes, and then you can do whatever you want on the flanks if you can do that. So as you can see at this stage, the whole lot of them just go rout because their team's out. So costly victory, but I thought it was pretty decisive on our part. The Carthaginian player did get a lot of kills, but I mean I was very decisive on my part. I still had a lot of men left. Galatian Royal Guard, 148 there. The Ptolemaic Cav, 156, 83. And look at the slingers, 181, 136. These two took a bit of a loss because they were the concentration of all of his slingers. Egyptian pikemen, 51, 53, 51. That's pretty good for really low quality pikes like this. They did the job. As you can see, the Galatian swords, 128, 71, 65. They're a cheap, very effective piece of infantry there. Quite useful, gives Egypt quite a lot of options. And I rather like using them. And let's check the Swedes. He did very well as well, though. I mean, it was very close between him and his opponent. They basically just pyrrhically destroyed one another. His general did good. His archers, a couple of them did okay. His cav didn't do great. Well, Legionary Cav 50, they're not a great unit. The Socii Extraordinary is not too bad, but of course the Roman legions, as you can see, high kills for quite a few of them. And as you can see, my opponent, his cav was his killing power there, and his slingers, and none of them did that great. A couple of them got the 60, but that's not enough for what he was aiming to do. And then the Carthaginian player, very nice work with this, a mercenary and Iberian cav. I wonder if he got into some of his skirmishes. There's lately been hot plates. Probably, if he's going for a stalling force, of course that elephant 285, that's pretty to be expected. His cav doing quite well for him there. This Libyan infantry, it's a good sword unit, did well in some of his skirmishes. So a very good game to Swedish Landsknekt. Was Riothamus and Beer Venezuela, I think it is. I have another 2v2 we did against these two guys with some different results. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. Of course I'll link Swede's channel, be sure to check it out, some great stuff there. Hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. See you next time.